Turn it off. Hit record. Because we do want to record this thing.
Let's see if you got it.
Check.
And yeah, we're good.
All right, good. All right. Only a couple minutes behind schedule, but we're
technical difficulties.
We always have technical difficulties, man.
It started with my computer, but it actually, as soon as I got everything set up to go on my phone, my computer relaunched. So,
all right. How you doing, man? You doing all right?
Man, I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Well, we're about to start this thing. We're gonna give it just a couple, probably just a minute from now, because we have been going fast and furious trying to get this squared away. But we got it going now. Where is, boom. Let me get invite. Gotta get this guy out of here because he does give feedback. All right.
Get this turned.
Let's start this thing, shall we?
Yeah, well, I think we're ready.
What's up with the captions? I think that's on your end.
Do what?
Sarah saying she got captions. That has to be on her end.
I'm scared to know what that would be.
Because we ain't that fancy for captions.
We have closed captions for the hearing impaired.
Yes.
That's how they knew. That's how they knew CJ Bean said that thing about the Russians.
It does say captions are generated.
Now I'm scared. Facebook is watching the show, baby.
This is terrible.
Because we know there's people that watch.
Oh, you know what? If she's watching it on silent mode, the captions start. Now that we got that out of the way.
Now that we know that they're stalking us like that, that's amazing.
Yeah, we can't say the big R word.
Russian
big R word. Maybe you just got to shut down, Case. I don't know.
Thanks.
All right, let's do this.
I'm ready.
All right, what is up, everybody? And good evening. Another Friday night videos, quarantine edition. So Smokin Gooder Show, Texas Pitmasters Bullhorn Bar, whatever you want to call it. But
we're here. Pandemic
episode number 10. Actually, I think it's number 11. Actually, believe it or not. Crazy. And we've been doing some hits. I got on Wednesday. I did not expect to be on that long. I thought I was going to be on for like 12 minutes. An hour and 20 minutes later, the beers were flowing on Wednesday night. That's not good. I shouldn't be doing these on a Wednesday night.
All the days kind of run together.
They do. Working from home, so I didn't have a big commute to get to my office on Thursday morning. But anywho, what's up, everybody? My name is Rob Rocha, and you are watching the Smokin Gooder Show, and I'm coming to you from the Bullhorn headquarters in Cypress, Texas, here for another fun night. We're going to have Mr. Aaron Lesley from Texas Oil Dust on here in just a little bit. And I just got off the phone with the Barbecue Reaper, Mr. Kevin Miller.
Kevin.
COVID Kevin, is that what it is?
Yeah.
And he is actually going to join us a little bit just to give us an update, just to give us a status on maybe any cook-offs that y'all want to bring to his attention. He might know something about how they're handling and where they are going to be as far as,
next one he's going to axe.
Or the next one to take the big axe. That voice you hear on the other end, of course, if you're not watching, you're listening on podcast, but that voice is Mr. Case Hahn, and he's going to tell you how you can hear it and watch it and all that good stuff. What's up, Case?
Hey, guys. Good evening from Dickinson, Texas. Hope you guys are still safe as we grind through another week of quarantines and pandemics and everything else that's going on in the world today. If you're listening to us live on Facebook, comment away. We try to follow as many comments as possible. Sure, we catch up with them later. And so if you've got questions or something going on in your world you think we should know about and the world should know about, comment away. If you're watching us live on Facebook, if you're catching up with us later in the week or the month or whenever you're catching this show on all your podcast channels, whether you get it through Apple, Android, however you get your podcasts. I promise you'll find us under the Smokin Gooder Show. So good to have you. Good evening, Rob. Fun stuff to talk about, and a cool guest tonight. So good show.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time, and like I mentioned, we got Aaron here. He's actually sitting in a wing, so we'll bring him on shortly. And of course, Kevin is gonna drop by a little later in the show. But hey, some of Texas has been opening up. Salons were open today, so I went to
your hair done?
I did. Took my boys, and we went down to our favorite neighborhood barbershop called Royal Cuts. Shout out to Maria and Azul, and they did a great job. Look at this thing, man. This thing is awesome, man. I'm loving it. It's good stuff. How's your hair doing, Case? I always ask you.
Dude, I got up this morning and I opened up the Sports Clip app and realized no locations were taking any appointments online today. So that's okay. NASCAR's coming back, and so I think I have a mullet working right now.
Yeah.
And so I may let it flow. And so we'll see.
Ong has an opening at his salon, which is Cool Cuts for Kids. He said you are more than welcome to drop in there. So why do we do that to Fong, man? We love Fong. Fong is a friend of the show. But the Sweet 16 in the Texas Pitmasters Virtual Showdown went live about 3 hours ago. I have not checked it. I was watching a show with the wife, so I didn't check anything yet. That's why I actually kind of like not knowing and hearing the ticker whenever you get around to doing that. So we'll hit on the ticker after we get old Mr. Aaron Lesley. But I think that's what we're going to do right now is bring Aaron in. He's sitting there waiting in the wings looking all pretty. You ready to bring old Aaron in?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, and oh, we got him drinking. Got him drinking. What's up, Aaron? How you doing, man?
What's up, guys?
How's life in West Texas?
It's blowing wind, sand, dirt, tumbleweeds, you name it. Got big gusts. It's I don't know what the wind gusts are, but it's miserable. 30, 40 mile an hour, dirt, sand blasting you, Typical day. Mother Nature's about a month and a half off. See, right now it's May. It should be about 105, 107, and no wind, just dry. And unfortunately, it's 55 in the morning, winds blowing all day. She is kind of confused on where she's at. We're in the 70s and 80s, so she's a little confused. But we'll get her back in shape here in a few weeks, I bet you.
Yeah, it's nice. The weather is actually pretty nice over here as well. So we got a lot to talk to you about, man. You got a restaurant. You work with Midland Meat Company. Yeah, that's one of your sponsors, I know. You got some rubs and injections and marinades out on the market right now. This is our first time to really you were a part of the Sweet 16 or the Texas Pitmasters thing, but this is our first time to actually get you on by yourself. So how are things with you? How are you holding up with this whole downtime with no cook-offs, and what are you doing to pass the time? I guess you're working your butt off on the restaurant, right?
Well, we are. This is our third week. This is our third Friday or third week to open back up. This week we have all outdoor seating, so we don't have an indoor facility. Controlled climate. Thing. But what we have is we have good atmosphere, food friendly. Kind of family fun, real friendly. But this is so we've been doing drive up and takeout only for the last 2 weeks. This week here was the first week to open up the outdoor seating itself. Everybody, we space tables. We got it all, koshered up and coated like they wanted it. But so this has been a busy week for us. We've actually been selling out every day. All you can do is cook more and hope that you don't get stuck with a big old smoker full of meat that doesn't get sold. But blessed to be a part of the Midland Meat Company family and to be honored to cook and be able to do what we love to do. And the barbecue side is great. 7 days a week, usually because we're Tuesday through Friday. And then I leave on Fridays and I go compete wherever that trip takes us 6, 7, 8 hours, wherever we got to go.
Hey, for those that don't know, what's the name of the restaurant and where can they find it?
Okay, so I had a catering business called the Feedlot here in Midland. And now we have the Midland Meat Company, the Half Acre. And it's right there in town, on the north side of town, south side of the loop. So if you ever get in Midland, you want to check it out. It's the Midland Meat Company Half Acre. And we just got, we got a big commercial kitchen, big patio, and we got a lot of outdoor seating, about 60 or 70 people to sit down and enjoy themselves. So no alcohol. We don't serve alcohol, but we do allow people to BYOB, come up and have a few beers. And if you talk to the right guy, you might get a free one while you're sitting there waiting or eating your dinner. So I've always got free.
We had chatted last week. Are you from the Midland area, or did oil and gas get you out there? Where are you from originally?
Born and raised, Midland, Texas. Mom and dad were from here. I raised up here. Moved off for a few years with a family. When times got tough back in the probably the early '80s. Oil kind of went down. Had a hard time, so mom and dad moved away. But we came back, and oil's always kept us here. My theory is you live where you work. And I got a nap. Sorry, guys. I'm going to fly or something. But my theory is you always live where you work.
It's a murder hornet.
It's always provided for my family, and I've been oil and gas for 22 years. I wouldn't change it for the world. So I retired back in April of 18, and haven't looked back since. Been barbecue full time since then.
Awesome.
How difficult was it to make that transition from oil and gas, which you've known for most of your life, to obviously barbecue, but we've talked about it, the day-to-day operations of a restaurant versus going to a cook-off is two different things.
It's first off, I'm 44, so I've been a superintendent and company man, tool pusher, roughneck, worm corner. And the thing about the oil and gas industry, no matter what side of the fence you're on, whether you're on production or drilling, there's always somebody that's going to report to you. You're always going to report to somebody else, and somebody's going to report to them. The ladder gets really tall. The problem is, in the last 5 years, the ladder has gotten taller, but the engineers and the people you work for have gotten younger. So you're not dealing with people in their 50s and 60s anymore. I got a kid out of Texas Tech or A&M or TSU that's telling me that with 3 years experience in oil and gas, right out of a textbook, how to drill a well 27,000 feet deep, and I can't and what I'm doing is wrong. And so, it wasn't very hard at all to leave because I'm tired of the chest pains, the aggravation, the tell them to kiss my ass kind of thing. I should have been fired a long time ago, but fortunately I had enough stroke to stay there. But I also knew what I was doing, and I love my job, and I'm good at it. But it wasn't that hard at all to bail. I was making good money on the side. I worked 2 on and 2 off, so 14 days on, 14 days off. I made more money on my days off catering and selling barbecue than I did working as a superintendent where I was at, on a paycheck level, not 401k, not stock options, that kind of stuff, but just on a paycheck level. I was making more money, so that's if I can pay my bills, I consider myself completely 100% fortunate, and if my bills are paid, then I'm successful.
Hey, Aaron, before we get into your comp life, this is actually going to tie into that, but we've all been hearing about the meat shortage and the prices of briskets and everything going up. How's that affecting you, if any, and what have you heard out on the restaurant side of things?
Well, unfortunately, the meat packers have really put a pretty big screw to the ranchers. They're causing this kind of dilemma. They used the COVID-19 to this could be my opinion, but at the same time, I think I have the same opinion as everybody else. But the whole COVID thing became an excuse to let their staffing go and create a beef shortage, pay the ranchers dollars on the dime, and then they could charge 10 times for boxed meat. So with that being said, I was fortunate with Midland Meat Company. They're 6th generation, and those guys, there's 5 generations there, and then of course John and them have kids, and they're one of the oldest family-owned ranches in the state of Texas. So when you have your own herd, you kill your own beef, you butcher your own heads, you have your own meat shop. Those guys are 100% family-oriented behind me and behind my family and with everybody else that works there. It's one big family. So, you're not going to find a beef shortage at Midland Meat Company. He can ramp it up or he can ramp it down. It's his call. But he's going to stick to his guns, and he's going to offer you the best meat, the best price. And then with that being said, we can also do the same thing at the restaurant. So we're not going to see a shortage at the Half Acre or at Midland Meat Company. It ain't going to happen.
You have any insight on what you think is going to happen to just the consumers out in the grocery stores and whatnot?
Say it one more time.
You have any insight on what you think is going to happen with the consumers? Like at grocery stores, I know it's going to jack up. People have been saying.
Well, so it's going to be like a rush on toilet paper and paper towels, right?
Yeah.
If you tell somebody they can't have it, they're going to want it 5 times more.
Right.
So every brisket that some store says are grinding for grind, grind is your number one meat seller, right? Hamburger meat. So everybody needs hamburger meat. You don't need a brisket. You don't need beef ribs, but you need hamburger meat. So when the store tells you that I'm grinding up every brisket in the case, then that's going to create a rush. I see a lot of guys on social media that are posting, what store has briskets, what store doesn't, who's using what. So it's going to create a dilemma for a while for a lot of guys. They're going to have a hard time getting the beef that they need. Your restaurants, your food trucks, any of your craft restaurants, anybody that sells brisket is going to have a situation where their prices are going to go up, and they're going to have to limit back their menu scale, but they're going to get creative for the next 2 or 3 weeks, what they can sell, what they can do, and how can they make that extra money to take the place of the brisket. If I don't have brisket, and for some reason we don't have brisket, I can walk into the cooler. So here's the best advice I was ever given, and it said this: there's only 2 briskets per cow. Each heifer has 2 briskets, but I got a whole carcass to sell. So be creative and sell the whole carcass. Quit worrying about the 2 briskets you got on that cow. Sell the whole carcass. So then you got to walk into the cooler and you say, okay, man, I got 300 cuts here. What am I going to do? And you got to be creative. So what can you do to replace that? That's going to be up to the guy who's on the other end of that knife, and what can he do? But at the end of the day, a shortage will be created. 3 or 4 weeks later, they're going to have plenty of it coming back. Everybody's going back to work, and then brisket prices are going to come down. So for the next few weeks, it'll be a kind of a pain in the ass, but just guys can pull through, bear with it, and they'll come out of this.
We're having some comments in the feed here. Cesar says you can't find briskets in San Antonio at HEB. Samantha Cherry saying that she saw it firsthand at a store where they collected them all and jacked them up an additional 60 cents a pound. She was able to grab one. So it's like you just mentioned, you're gonna have that rush, and then it's gonna die, hopefully sooner than later.
I tell you what, there's gonna be more briskets for sale at your HEB, your Walmart, your Kroger, whatever store that you have in about 3 to 4 weeks than they can probably sell in the next few months. So prices will drop. Right now, even that cheap HEB Select that everybody bitched about during the best part of the year when it's really good, is going to look really good. Just most of those guys out there. But you take what you can get and you do the best you can. You got to find a way to find toilet paper towels. You got to find a way to find briskets. I don't know.
Quick note: if y'all are seeing captions in the feed, if you hover over that little gear icon and turn off captions, it should go away. I've tried to do it. We didn't set the captions. I don't know why it's doing it, but I can turn it off on my end. So if you're seeing captions, there's a little gear icon. Just hover over it and turn it off.
You're big time when you have captions.
You know what? That might have been. We hit 4,000 likes, and I guess maybe it triggered a captions option that I didn't know about. But thanks to everybody for watching this show. This has been a lot of fun, and we've been getting a lot of traction here in the last couple of weeks with this Pitmasters Showdown, which Aaron, I don't know if people caught that in the first few episodes during this deal, but Aaron was part of the selection committee. He helped put this list together, and I told everybody at the time we really took a lot of time and effort and thought into this thing, and I appreciate you doing that for us. And you had a tough matchup last weekend. bowing out to Carlo, who's going against Arnie in it's going on right now.
Yeah, that one started.
Which we'll recap here, or which we'll update here in a minute. But so let's talk about your cook team. Is it Texas Oil Dust? Is that what you cook under as well?
Texas Oil Dust, yes, sir.
Texas Oil Dust.
We've had a couple of barbecue team names in the past, but everything, everyone tries to be creative. You got to have something that makes you stand out. And when we started selling the rubs, I should have dawned on me then. But if you're believing what you're doing, you believe in what you're selling, then you should believe in what you represent every weekend. I only have 2 sponsors, and that's myself. That's Texas Oil Dust and Midland Meat Company. I believe in those 100%. And that's the reason why I brought in, changed my team name to Texas Oil Dust, because that was just a big thing. If you're going to represent it every week, you might as well do it on the weekends too.
Was that a new logo you came out with? Sorry, Case.
Yeah, you're good.
Was that a new logo that I just saw?
That now?
Did you get a new logo?
Where?
For Texas Oil Dust. I saw something you showed that looks like a branding thing. It looks pretty cool.
I got that one. That's the same one.
Okay.
I don't know. I've had that. I've been copyrighted for 5 or 6 years now. And so I've never changed my logo. I've just changed my labels. That's it's not gonna. If someone say sponsor, CJ, man, I tell you what, he just needs a peanut sponsor, and he's got that from Alton. So
he does. He already has that. Jeremy asked, "How did we leave Justin out of this thing?" Case, you want to take that one?
What's that?
How did we leave Margist out of the tournament?
He's a complete douchebag.
He was invited to be in the tournament. He declined.
Actually,
Eric,
go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I think when the Pitmaster selection committee came up, I want to say that he was on quite a few of the guys' list because he was a Texas deal. It wasn't like he was just ex-Nate because nobody liked him. I've only met him one time, but I think he's all right. I just don't know what
he was on my list. I put Justin on the list. I actually wanted him to be in the tournament.
Yeah, what's your thoughts, Justin?
I think it's Case.
Nothing. Okay, stay there. Hold Case. Hold little Case.
He didn't have nothing to say.
No, nothing. Aaron, how long you been competing? What got you into it? And where from a competition standpoint do you stand in your career right now? Where do you see yourself going?
Well, so in 2015, we did a couple with the family. It was my brother-in-law kind of got me into it. I can't remember exactly where. It was a little backyard cook-off somewhere, but I think he got a first-place chicken. And I was like, that's pretty cool, and he walked out with like $700. I was like, wow, man, that's pretty good for a half chicken back then. That they were, I think it was IBCA was just doing half chicken, in Lone Star. But that's so I did one with him, and I just went to the cook-off. He was at it, but I just went to the cook-off. And I thought, it's kind of neat. We drank a lot of beer. We had a lot of dinner. We had a good time. 115, I decided that it was, we did a couple with the family. I did some of my own, and it sucked. A lot of Tony Sasseries, a lot of garlic, pepper. And it was just like strong, salty. Just didn't taste very good. So I told myself one day, I said, you know what, if we're going to give this a shot, let's make a go at it. Let's take a class or do something let's just see where everybody's doing. So we did a small online DVD class. It wasn't just a cheap DVD class. And I did like 6 or 8 cook-offs in 15. I hit my first grand champion in 15. I hit my first GC and RGC in 16. So it just kind of spawned from there. And then the next thing you know, I had my steak seasoning out at the time, which is now our all-purpose rub, the Oil Dust. We were doing a lot of catering, and it just kind of spawned into catering, cooking probably 4 or 5 days a week, doing about 500-600 steaks a week for the oil field guys on the rigs. And then I do a cook-off here and there. And And then I think we did, give or take, 16, I think in 16, maybe 17, we did a few. And then all of a sudden, 18, we just kind of hit it hard and said, let's just go for it. And the rubs progressed as we went. You know, the more cook-offs we went to, the more flavors we found out. J.D. Henley, which is going to be competing here pretty quick. Is he on the night or tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
Okay. So, you know, J.D. was out here and he was kicking everybody's ass. And he told me, he said, you ever want to really learn what good barbecue is for competition? You can't cook in your home area. You got to get out of the area. Go somewhere else. Go another part of Texas where you have no clue, because once you go everywhere, you'll figure out a profile. We're not in the same town more than twice in a row unless it just happens to be 2 back-to-back cook-offs in our hometown. And so that kind of spawned me and got me hooked, because when you get a brisket call in South Texas, let's just say Beeville, and say you get a brisket call in Denton, and you get a brisket call in Midland, and all of a sudden you go all the way down to Houston and get a brisket call, well, you might have something going on. The state of Texas likes your overall profile. So when you do something like that, that gets you, oh man, okay. So now you're excited, you're kind of worried, but you're excited, and you say, can we do it again this weekend? So what do? You go down to Uvalde, or you go down to Del Rio or somewhere, and you might not get out of your chair, but the whole point is you go all over the state of Texas, because everything is not just regional. Good flavor, good barbecue, it stands out everywhere. It doesn't have to stand out in one area. And that's why all your top guys are good. They have good calls, mediocre calls, or it could be middle of the road, but they do good everywhere. So when that happened, we just kind of got hooked, and it was just like, we can't stop. And I couldn't stop in 19 when we were going for the points chase. Mm-hmm. Lee Hickle passed me up when I went on. And then all of a sudden, it's like me and Sag are going at it. And it's just, it's addicting. Barbecue competitions are addicting. And if you don't have the right personal life for it, you're not able to do that. But that's how we kind of got into it. It just kind of by chance. And then I'm a competitive guy, so I just kind of jumped in there and went after it.
Very nice. Case.
What are you, we always ask, what's your pit of choice down the road for cooking right now?
So, some guys will know me. I started out on a old reverse flow that I built. It's a 7-foot piece of 30-inch, got 4 racks. I got tired of sticking wood in it all the time, so I mounted 2 pellet pro hoppers to the end of it. Shit you not.
Nice.
And made a pellet grill.
I'm listening.
Once I cooked the brisket, I plugged in and I'd fire them 2 pit bosses up, and I'd keep that pit at 250 all night long, and I'd go to sleep, wake up at 4 o'clock, take my brisket off. But over time, I started building drums, the Texas trash can. I think we got close to probably 80 of those things out there. And then the restaurant became too busy. But so drums are a big thing. They're a flavor that brings out pork and chicken really well, and brisket. Don't get me wrong. But my pit of choice is an offset. I like a good offset pit burner. I like a good stick burner, and I think you cannot beat. At the end of the day, when you look at all the top cooks, the grand champions and the probably the world champions, you're going to find out that drum didn't quite make it in there. It just it's just that offset stick burner. So I like my Jambos. I've got 3 of them. I've also got a Tyler Cannon. Tyler's got one of my pits in the shop right now. We revamped it. I've also got an R&O in the back. That's like a J3. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I've got a backyard. I've got it enclosed. And I bought a Jambo off of one of the guys here in town. He's no longer with us, but Jerry King, I bought his. And after he passed away, and I had a trailer made for it. Philip Kirkpatrick's building it for me like a J3 trailer, but my Jambo's sitting on there instead. So I think at the end of the day, I'm a drum offset cooker. I've got a flavor that I can mellow the 2 together, and it takes a while to do that. But when you do and you work it just right, I can put both flavors together and do really well. So that's kind of where I'm at. But my offset stick burners are they're my favorite pits to cook on.
Very cool.
Last couple.
Go ahead, Ron.
That with that arsenal of cookers that you have there, does it matter if you're cooking like IBCA or KCBS? Does it matter what you're bringing, or are you bringing the same toys each one?
So I've only done 7 KCBS cook-offs. Excuse me. I did the Royal once back in 16. I cooked ribs, had a 5th place rib in the open. It was like, I don't know, 564 or something like that. So offset flavor then was really good. I think Travis had a 1st place rib that weekend, Travis Clark. So KCBS, I'm going to cook on both. I'm going to cook on the offsets, the Jambo itself, whichever one I have in there, I'm going to cook on it. It's more room. I have a 28-inch barrel, so it's going to have more room for brisket, pork butts, ribs, and then chicken. I'm going to pan the chicken. I'm going to bring in the drum for that drum flavor, but I'm not going to put that whole drum flavor in there. I think for IBCA, you're going to, the drum flavor works good because it's the flavor of the public. It's the public's opinion, and that reminds them of their grandfather, their grandmother, their uncle, their aunt, whoever they was cooking in the backyard. That over the coal flavor reminds them of nostalgia, and that's a big thing for barbecue competitions. So if I'm going to go to IBCA, it's going to be a drum and an offset. If I'm going to KCBS, it's going to be my offset. I've had good luck in KCBS here in Texas. I haven't ventured out of state yet, but just once in Alabama. But it's the overall flavor. I think the offset in KCBS does kind of evens out or is higher on the scale. And IBCA, I think that the drums are starting to take over that backyard flavor. And so you have to just kind of play with it. But I'm still going to stick with my offset. I can't get away from it. Even if it's just brisket, I'm still going to cook on it. So I'm going to have both in my trailer. If you see me, I'll have a drum and I'll have my offset smokers.
Gotcha.
They give you a chance to brag about the rub. I'm going to brag about you real quick. The chopping block in Webster, Texas has your products, and they opened up. It's close to the house. And so picked up your brisket rub, ran it for the first time this past weekend. It was a huge hit. It's brisket rub and prime brisket and let the pellet smoker do the rest of the work on the Rectech. But what got you in? What made you start bottling your rubs? How many rubs are out there? And I already got a replacement. Ordered Monday morning. I ordered another shaker from the barbecue store, and they had it at my house by Tuesday. But what made you get in that rub business, and which rubs you have out on the market?
So back in 12, I had a little homemade pit on a trailer that I was using, and a guy that I worked for said, "Hey, I'm tired." We gave bonuses at the rigs, and part of that bonus was if you did a certain job in a certain amount of days, then we would give you a steak dinner, a ribeye steak, 2 sides, dessert, tea, salad, the whole deal. And we were hiring people to do that. It got to the point that that we were putting a lot of money into the food and we weren't getting the results we wanted. So the guy that I was working for at the time, he said, "Hey, we got to find somebody." I said, "Well, I got no pit at the house that I built. Let me just bring it out here. We'll cook some steaks, and if you like it, we'll just continue doing it. I'll just cook it when I'm at work." So 3 months later, my steak seasoning, or with oil dust now, that kind of came into play because I couldn't afford to make. Let me phrase that. I couldn't afford to buy steak seasoning at the store. It just got too expensive. That's my bulldog. Yeah, sorry. So I couldn't afford to keep buying rubs at the store. So in turn, I sat there in the kitchen. Me and my wife did. We kind of just started with some salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, and we just kind of went through the whole process. About 6 or 8 trials and processes through about 3 months worth, I came up with the oil dust. And when I came up with it, it was a little saltier back then. We kind of trimmed it since then, to try to make it more pleasing. But that's kind of how we got started. And the bottling came in to give back to charity. My wife was finding a way at Christmas time to buy for a family that was in need, like Christmas presents, that kind of stuff. So I said, "Well, what if we put this in a bottle and we just give back to charity?" we just take so much of the money that comes back, we buy more rub, and we just give some to charity, or we buy somebody something, but we use those profits. And that's where it got started. And I think 15 is when we started the steak seasoning, and the oil dust came alive. And from there on, it's just kind of made out of necessity. Needed a chicken rub one day. Bam, I made a chicken rub. Needed a brisket rub. I tried a few things, got a first place brisket. Matter of fact, the black gold, the very first cook-off, the black gold that I ever used it on was a first place brisket, 78 teams. So I started using it again. I use it again, boom, use it again, boom, and it just kind of went on. And then, of course, everything spawned from a need. It wasn't because somebody had something, or this rub tasted that, tasted like this, or I needed something more sweet, more heat. It was my flavor profile, my West Texas profile, and that just kind of spawned. But it was a profile around the state. I tweaked it every time I went to a cook-off. I tweaked the flavor. 4 or 5 months, some guys are like, "Hey, how come you're doing really good in ribs? What are you using?" I said, "Well, I'm using this. Why don't you try it?" And then all of a sudden, they're beating me in ribs. So that's how we got started. I let some guys, Paul Whitaker, Tommy Smith, Chuck Long, those guys got to use the stuff, and then they started doing good. And then I'm getting my butt handed to me. So that's kind of how we got started. And then it just kind of spawned out of necessity. Just kind of needed it. It happened, and here we are. It wasn't anything to try to just make money off of. It was just because we enjoy competition barbecue, and I wanted a flavor that maybe nobody else had at the time, or it was a little bit off, a little bit different because it blends with other stuff. The piggy bank, for instance. So this piggy bank, this one right here, it's not a really sweet rub. There's a reason for it not being sweet. It's got a chipotle kick to it, but because everyone does a brown sugar honey butter wrap. It doesn't matter who you are. You can put water in there, but I'm going to say 7 out of or 8 cooks out of 10 are going to put some form of sweetener in their wrap. They're going to put butter, brown sugar, honey. It could be agave. It could be honey from your local processor. It doesn't matter. But so instead of adding extra sugar, I left it out a little bit because it mellows with the flavor of the meat. It also mellows with their extra wrap and juices. So you don't have an overly sweet rib, but you got a good heat and kick to it. So I toned things down because my process brings the rest of the flavors out. And it done me well. I've had a lot of really huge rib calls. I've got I can't say how my rib game has changed, but it's been, usually, I'm not going to knock on wood here because I don't want to jinx myself. But I've just got some really good rib luck with it. And that's, I think of things at the end. I don't think of things at the beginning. That's kind of how I look at stuff. I don't taste out of a bottle and say, hey, it tastes great. I taste out of a bottle and say, well, that might go with this. Let's see how it tastes on that meat right there. And you're looking at the overall effect, not just taste good out of a bottle.
Nice. You're
throwing out kind of where I got started. I mean, I have a different way of thinking, guys. You're
throwing out some good knowledge there. We got about 5 to 10 more, maybe about a little less than 10 minutes. We're going to have Kevin on here in a minute. But one thing a lot of cooks always like to know, this is actually a question that CJ Bean said, hey, this is something I always like to hear from cooks. What are your favorite cook-offs? And one that I like to ask is, what's that big high water mark that you've had in your life, in your cooking world? What's that one moment that sticks out as far as a competition?
Well, as far as the high water mark, I haven't hit it yet. Now,
to date,
probably to date. So to date, the best thing I ever did was 5th place ribs, the American Roll in the Open back in 16. My first time to go. It was my 2nd or 3rd KCBS cook-off. So that's probably that's my favorite ribbon, I guess you'd say, my favorite trophy, to be able to stand up there in front of everybody and say, you know what, I was a half a point away from Travis Clark on ribs. And to know that, to be that guy, that IBCA guy who Texas can't cook pork for shit, to be up there on the front stage, there's a lot of Texas cooks that make that front stage. So that's my ultimate deal, to say 564 teams, I was 5th place ribs. That's a pretty big bragging right for me.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't 1st place, it wasn't 2nd place, but I mean, it was still 5th for me, and I'm happy with that. What was the second question?
Your favorite cook-offs to do?
Shit. They're all favorite to me. I will say that one cook-off that I look forward to going to every year is Wade Carpenter's cook-off in Uvalde. I don't think I've ever been to a cook-off that's had more of a family-friendly, fun atmosphere than those guys get together with.
And a free
Wade does
meal.
an awesome job. Hey,
A free meal and a free
Gordon,
show.
those guys cooking.
Case, I think we're coming back this year, Case.
That's that was a great
there's
event.
no limit to good meals down there.
Mm-mm.
And you got Gordon, those guys cooking what they're doing. You got some Texas sheet cake happening. You got 50 or 60 people out there throwing some potato salad on a bowl. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff happening there. But to me, that cook-off brings a whole lot of people from all over the place, and it's just a great atmosphere to be in. I mean, no matter where you're from. I don't think I've ever had. I don't know either. Shit. Anyways, but that's so I
We all know that question.
got a 5-month-old bulldog. She's
No, you're good. You're good.
That's the best one. So that's I'm gonna stop right there.
Nice. And then a couple questions from the crowd out here. What's your favorite barbecue joint? Favorite barbecue joint other than yourself? And is there a Texas oil dust class on the way?
Well, that must have been from Bill.
That
You said, was there a favorite what now?
was, your favorite barbecue joint other than yours?
So I'm fixing I don't think
Dickie's barbecue.
I'm gonna tell you this. I don't think I have eaten at another barbecue joint in years. I probably don't. I don't have one. I'll be honest with you. I think I ate at Cooper's once.
No.
I don't remember which one it was.
Case loves.
And I don't think I've only probably eaten at 5 commercial barbecue joints in my lifetime that I can remember, but nothing in the last 10 or 15 years.
Nice.
That's just an honest deal.
I've
So I don't have
3
a
of them
favorite
this
barbecue
week.
joint. I really don't.
Well, that answers the question there. Well, Kevin,
I'll
is there
tell you
anything?
this: when you work in the oil field, you
God
don't
dang it.
get a chance to do that.
I got Kevin's name.
Sure.
Aaron, is there anything you want to touch on before we let you go? Because
COVID Kevin's coming.
yeah, COVID. The Reaper is
COVID
on deck. You don't want to be on when the Reaper gets on. Just saying.
Well, now, guys, I just appreciate you letting me on. I appreciate being a part of the cook-off bracket. Helping pick everybody. I think we had a lot of great guys from across the state that were chosen.
Yep.
If they didn't make the list, it's not because they weren't thought of. It was because there was just a lot of great guys that were out there, and they knew the overall wins. So I really appreciate being that. Thanks for having me on, and I'm glad to be a part of everything. And no matter what happens out there, guys, eat my dust.
Hey, last thing I wanted to mention is we're going to have a gooder giveaway with some Texas oil dust coming up here in 2 weeks, because I've got the next 2 weeks lined up. But Aaron has graciously offered to what do you want to give up for the gooder giveaway for that, Aaron? Have you thought about it?
So I'm gonna actually I've got 6 bottles. I've got the main, I call it the 4 Horsemen. I've got the Wildcatter, then I have the new Triple X, which is a flavor booster. It's just like an MSG in a bottle, but it's not salty. It's smooth, savory. It's a little blend. And I'm going to do that. And I'm also going to send 3 injections. So you're going to have you have 6 bottles of rub and 3 injections I'll be giving you as soon as I get my load in, probably Monday or Tuesday.
Man, that's over $100 value easily.
It's more than $100, but I you know what? I didn't do this to get rich. I think if you ask, some of the top guys selling rubs, we're not going to get rich off of this. Maybe one day it has an ultimate goal, but I did this to have a good time and to support people and to go out and compete barbecue. So I'm just going to share the love.
Well, you got Weston says, just want to say you have a great lineup of rubs, Aaron. Bill Purvis does a great job, Aaron. Leslie. Hey, and I want to send a special thank you to you. We appreciate you supporting the show with the Texas Pitmasters Virtual Showdown. That's a big deal. It's not unnoticed. We do appreciate it. Guys, if you want to get some good rubs, up your game, go see Aaron. Hit him up. How can they find you?
Sorry, guys. Damn Russians got me.
I know. How can they find you?
I'm just kidding. I'll tell you what. Carlo was sending me pictures at the lake. He's like, okay, I shared to everybody I know. It's all up to them. And then all of a sudden it climbed. I had to get back on there. We go sharing again. You know, it was. I got my weekends back because I'm not in the tournament no more. So
Carlo had the whole Rec Tech Mafia behind them, and
he got me.
They are strong. I will say that. Yeah, they're strong.
We got lucky.
Yes. Well, good luck, man, and we appreciate it. And don't be a stranger. We'll get you back on the show. We appreciate you watching, commenting, doing it. And then the Gooder giveaway is going to be happening in a couple weeks. And thank you so much for that. That's going to be awesome. And that's a huge deal for people to watch and pay attention. All right, thanks, Aaron. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
See you, bud.
You got it. There he was, Aaron Lesley with Texas Oil Dust. Man, what a cool dude, man.
Yeah, they, every time somebody comes on, there's always something that kind of sticks out. And one of the things, and that's a lot of information that Aaron's got. And we knew that. We, chatted with them last week off air. But, the story behind the rubs where you're cooking the ribeye steaks for the guys out in West Texas can't afford to go to the store and buy that kind of seasoning. So you go blend your own to cook for guys that are producing oil out in West Texas. It doesn't get much more Texas than that. That's pretty damn impressive. And so, but yeah, no. And yeah, I'm glad to run this rub. It's fantastic stuff. All this stuff is available at the barbecue store. You can get it to you extremely fast. Trust me. And so get on there, hit that store up. I just Googled barbecue store in Hempstead, and man, oh man, I placed an order for some products that I burned through over the weekend. And no lie, ordered them Monday about 11. They were at the door the next day already down here. And so hit those guys up at the barbecue store. You can find Aaron's products along with just about anything else you want when it comes to smoking great meat. Barbecue store in Hempstead, that should be your spot for getting your stuff shipped to you quickly.
Yes, barbecue store. That is BARBQUE store.com. That's how you find them. Kevin, we were just about to bring him and his device disconnected, but that's fine. We will get him on in just a second. Look at Jeremy Nippa's comment. Hey, thanks, Jeremy. He loves my hair. I like it.
You want to, so while we're waiting for Kevin, I got a story I didn't even tell you today.
Let's hear it.
I went into I was in the chopping block today, meat market here. Mother's Day's coming. Happy early Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yes.
And we're going to spend Sunday back at the beach in Bolivar's, where we've been kind of getting away during this whole deal. But I go in and I'm looking for some steaks, and we all in the same business right now, right? You're trying to find. And so I go up to the counter, and there are Wagyu steaks at the chopping block. And you know what? I was like, I pick up 2 of them. I don't want to tell you how much I spent on them. But I've got them. I pay for them. I got them in the truck. And I'm going, do I really want to risk screwing up these steaks? And so there's a lot of people, obviously, I can reach out to.
Sorry, I was waiting on. I was typing.
Yeah, you're good.
Go ahead.
So I sent a message to our former guest on the show and friend from Florida. She cooks on a regular basis. And
Florida,
so
Diva Q.
I sent a text message to Diva Q. And I had forgot about a week ago she had grilled octopus, and I had made fun of it on Facebook because there's no way in hell I'd ever eat octopus. And so she sends me a message back, and she goes, I'm not helping anybody who won't eat my food. I said, what? And then it dawned on me she was talking about that damn octopus. And so we went back and forth, but I've got a game plan thanks to Diva. And so she sent me some pointers on it, but we got some fantastic steaks to run. But note, Rob, if you're ever going to need some advice or help, she has a memory like a book.
Yeah, she does. She does.
But yeah, I got in her busy schedule. I feel blessed that Diva was able to send me some pointers, and we went through the whole thing, and they got all the way to the end, and she just sent me a YouTube video that she had already produced. And I was like, you could have just sent that early on. But she took time to make fun of my octopus.
So you don't eat vegetables, or you're going to eat octopus?
I'm not going to eat the octopus. So.
You're not going to eat it. Man, she has some good veggie recipes too, Case. You got to check those out, man.
No. I'll stick to your dessert.
Oh, Aaron said he could have given you one hell of a steak recipe and tips. Aaron's still watching, and we appreciate that. I wanted to ask him about pork because I know pork is a big deal out in West Texas. They love their pork. It was a big stink. Remember that about 6 months ago when we were cooking? The pork thing was a big issue.
Extra points, yeah, no, and especially, and I'm glad you mentioned the run between him and Jason as you got down to the end. Man, that point chase was kind of crazy. Those guys were just cooking every single week, and it was exhausting just sitting back watching those guys.
All right, we got Kevin in the what is it? The green room. We have a green room. It's really just a lobby that has nothing in it. Pictures of sad faces. So anyway, we're gonna bring Kevin on.
COVID Kevin.
There he is. Kevin, can you hear us? Can you see us? Your fan is not spinning, so it scares me.
He may be coming here to axe the show.
Yeah, that was a big risk taken on Kevin. Kevin, are you there? No, he's not there, man.
So, and we don't mean to pick on Kevin, but unfortunately, Kevin's in the tough role of passing on the news of canceled cook-offs on a regular basis to us thanks to COVID-19. And so it's a tough job, but Kevin's got to do it. He signed up for that one. So, but no, he's been the bearer of bad news for many weeks right now. But I did see some glimmer of hope. I saw some guys, some cook-offs. I think Llano and a couple other ones. I think Covington, Texas had a cook-off coming where they were still saying it's a go. I know people are anxiously waiting to see what the governor's going to say. I think on the 18th.
So I did talk to Kevin right before the show, and that's why I wanted to get him on. All right, I think we got him. Let's try it one more time.
I'm not going to cheer this time.
Kevin, are you there? Ooh.
COVID.
Are you there?
Kevin.
It ain't working.
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
To get a better speaker. Hang on a second. This ain't working.
We'll try it. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to Kevin. But anyway, so while we're waiting on Kevin, let's do some ticker updates, Case.
Oh hell, 1 second. And I had a tough time because you can't see the votes on these. You can't see the results until you vote. And there's some tough ones on here that I'm not sure if I want these guys to know who I'm picking.
You don't have to announce who you're picking, but
I have to actually vote here to get the results. And so,
okay, you can undo your vote. We're just this is just for status updates. That's all. That is it.
Speaking of close friends, Arnie and Carlo go head to head in this round. We're down to the Sweet 16, by the way, and so down to the Sweet 16. The Elite 8 is awaiting the winner of this one. Man, this one's tight. 51-49, about 700 votes in. Arnie edging out Carlo. Coach Carlo probably hasn't woke up yet to start sharing to all the groups. Clint Sindel and Gil, pretty strong. Over 1,000 votes already. We've got going. Gil 64% to Clint's 36%. Jackie the Reaper and Clarence Joseph going head to head. Jackie finds herself trailing probably for the first time in 2.5 weeks or since this thing got started. So
where we at?
Almost 1,000 votes in. 54% are leaning to Clarence Joseph. But don't sleep.
Count her out. Don't count her out. No, don't sleep on Jackie.
And then Ernest, 790 votes. Ernest, 58%, 42, or Mr. Tyler Cannon. I think those are the 4 that have kicked off already. And I can tell you, these things are fun to watch, and they will change overnight. Mm-hmm. And votes will start just flying in from random countries like Russia. But it's I can tell you, it's been fun. Because normally, the normal banter with the cooks on Facebook, we kind of wait for events to come, and then you wake up on Sunday and you're kind of hungover, and you kind of say your results and you congratulate people and you see what people did all over the state. This event's kind of been a nice one just to see some of these faces, get to hear them. But I mean, a lot of guys are taking this serious. We had the runoff this week. If you missed the overtime, was this past week. And so if you hadn't been paying attention, the CJ Bean and Adam Martinez tied, literally freaking tied. And they had to go to overtime, which they had on Wednesday. We were nice enough to wait for CJ Bean to get out of Facebook jail before he lost. And then that thing was within 0.5% or something like that. And so it was an extremely tight way. It was like 3,000 votes in a couple hours. It was insane. So
it was insane. The voting was flying off the charts. It was great. They were sharing voting. The reach doubled what Caleb had in his matchup, and he had like 7,000 votes in 24 hours. So I don't know what that tells you, Case, but
well, it tells me that Russia doesn't have near the internet access the people in America do. And so I'm not, listen, I'm not a conspiracy guy.
Allegedly.
If you look at the votes.
I hear if you say allegedly, you're safe. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm not even saying allegedly. I can't pronounce half the names that voted for Caleb in the last round. And so not just, if you want to come on, listen, he's been invited many times to the show.
Yep.
And so I understand he sent me a message, said, hey, I got 6 people that eat at my restaurant that are Russian. They got 75,000 friends. And so, no.
I don't Kevin is trying, fiercely. He's got 2 windows. There he is. I guarantee this is going to work. We are going to bring our man, Kevin Miller, on. There he is. Kevin, can you see and hear us?
I can see y'all. I can hear you now. I need to go to my computer.
I think it's the Bluetooth headset that made him cool.
Man, that's from like The Office. I've been watching The Office reruns, and I seen that headset.
There, better.
And that no, why'd you take it off? Why did you take it off? I'm just kidding.
Garth Brooks would have never taken his mic off.
I'm wearing Princess Leia headphones here, man. We're good. We're absolutely good. You can hear and see us? You're all good?
Yep. I'm good.
Wonderful. Kevin, so you get a lot of what's the word? I don't know. Notoriety for being the Reaper right now during the COVID crisis.
I think Butters did that to me.
Are you taking that in stride?
It is. It's all in stride. It's all good fun. I keep telling y'all, don't shoot the messenger. We all have to do it. I think as a director, one of the hardest jobs we have to do is right now getting emails or phone calls from the promoters. Just, trying to postpone, move dates, do this, do that. So we're all busy right now doing that. So it's not taking its toll on us, but we're trying our best to get y'all back out there cooking, and we're trying our best to make sure the events that are still out there are going to be successful.
Yeah. So what are you hearing out there? I know that IBCA they sent an email last week saying that they're going to wait until the governor comes back on May 17th, and then they're going to, I guess, reassess and make a decision. I guess maybe you can explain that a little better than we can. So let's hear from IBCA rep, Mr. Kevin Miller.
Well, we had our board meeting last weekend, and we've set up some committees to work on work safe in the judge room and stuff like that. We're trying to get prepared for when the governor does give us a green light, we can work. It's going to be a one-on-one basis with the promoters to make sure that, they can handle the load that may be put upon them. We don't know right now what's in store for us. We're waiting for the governor to come out with what he's going to let us do. We don't know whether we're going to be part of phase 2 or phase 3. We have no idea yet. So we're kind of early of them right now, just to let us know when we can go back to cooking. Leanne's watching it really close. The board's watching it really close. As soon as she listens to the reports and gets a grip on this thing, she's going to let us know how we're going to proceed. And like y'all see, we have cook-off scrambling, moving, doing this, doing that. We have 3 left in June for Region 2. I think we have about 13 left on the books for IBCA for June. So hopefully we can get y'all back out there pretty soon. But it's going to be a lot of coordination with the promoters. If we have to do social distancing in there, a lot of it'll be with the awards alone could be hard to do because of the amount may be in one room. And if we have a gathering that we have to limit, then the promoters are going to have to start making decisions on how they're going to handle that.
What are you hearing from the promoters? Are they wanting to move forward? So they're just waiting for maybe some go? Do they feel that they have the judges to do these events? Because we've all been talking, and you and I talked earlier, but not only just between us, everybody feels that the judging aspect is going to be the hardest thing to overcome. The cooks are going to be there. The promoters probably want to put on these events so they can, raise money for their causes and whatnot. But the judging is going to be the hardest people to convince to go out there and judge random people's food. And then, of course, what you just mentioned, the spacing issues and whatnot. So are they confident they can get the judges, or is that still kind of a question mark right now?
Every promoter that Robin and I have talked to right now, they are confident they can pull their judges in. I think they're working hard, maybe harder now than they normally do, to make sure that they have the judges, because we have impressed or instilled to them a lot. You don't want your event to fail. And although these guys want to cook and the gals want to cook, the worst thing that can happen is we start turning in food and you have no taste judges to taste it. And we don't want that to happen. We want these events to be successful. So that's the biggest niche, if we can get the public out there to judge the food. And again, as always, it's up to the promoter to pull in the taste judges. But most of the ones that we've talked to, they're pretty upbeat about it. They feel pretty confident that they can get them. And so all we have to go on is what they're telling us. But I don't think the book's just gun shy. I think they're ready to go. I think they're being, like I said, I think they're preparing more right now than they normally would for this. So we can only, cross our fingers, hope and pray that they can pull it off.
Case?
I don't know. Every time Kevin's around me, he hurts my feelings and takes my cook-offs away. And no, but when you have, all joking aside, it's got to be a tough job. I'm serious. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. I know it stinks, but are you hearing it from the cook side? Are you hearing it from, are you having to play? I work in a retail environment and everyone's an expert on what we should do. So what's your stand? Have you just taken a stance? Or are we going to let the governor make most of these decisions? Or sometimes you feel like you have to play referee between cooks, promoters, people that want, where's your stance on it? And ultimately, sometimes that may not agree with your own personal beliefs on these things, but are we just going to go by, what the governor says to the best of our ability? And that's what the cooks need to be told.
No, as soon as we get any kind of door, positive door, right now we don't have that. Right now we don't know whether we can really cook or not. Outdoor sports is limited to 4 people. We're trying to find a definition of that. We had to talk about that this past weekend at the board meeting or the weekend before it. I've lost time, but anyway, we were sitting there talking, and kind of put it out there like you have a complex with basketball courts, and you have 4 men playing on this one, you have 4 men playing on that one. Why couldn't that just be cook-offs? Cook team here, cook team there. But then there's so much more to it than that. It's when you start having these large gatherings, and it's going to be hard for people, yourself, the social distance part is what they're trying to keep intact. So just moving to awards, you go from a 50-team cook-off with just 50 head cooks, you may have 500 people in that room by the time at the end of the day or more. The judging room's the same way. It's not just the head judge in there with their taste judges. We have volunteers in there. We have the promoters in there with us. So it's hard to put it all together and say, yeah, we can do this real quick. We're thinking this through very carefully to make sure IBCA wants to make sure on our end we can pull this off safely, and we can do it like we always did without any hitches involved or anything like that. So we're really looking at it hard to make sure that we can do these events So we'll be in contact with promoters and make sure that they can fulfill our needs as well as theirs when we start doing them. But as soon as we figure out when we can get out there and get going, we're going to start going. We're not backing down. We're not going to wait for the big full green lights. I believe our take on it is, but we have to wait for the governor to give us some definite thing and definition of something, or somebody out there has to give us a definition of what a cook-off really is, to where we can go out there and start cooking. We don't know yet where we stand. My take is we're outdoor sports. That's what we do. We cook outside.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of all the cooks feel the same way I do. We're outdoor sports. So tell me, somebody needs to tell us what we can do. So we're waiting for the governor and everybody, but there's a lot more to it. The social distancing involved, the large gatherings. We need to find out about all these things right here and get together, and we put our heads together and figure out whether it's time for us to move forward or stand back and wait a little bit longer. That's where we're at.
Go ahead, Casey.
If this drags on, not everybody wants to, I know you don't like being the bearer of bad news, but let's say this does drag on. Has there been conversations on how IBCA would identify this year's cooks with the handful of events that have gone on? But if this thing drags out, has there been conversations? Do we still go forward from a point system, award those same cooks of the year if this continues to drag off, or we're just not? Is it too early to have those conversations?
We haven't really had any conversations about that, but I can tell you, I feel pretty sure the point standing would stand as it is. If we were just shut it off right now. But again, that would be, if we have discussions like that in the board, my feeling about it is we would have not much choice but to keep it like it is. I don't know how we back up and, we're dead in the water, and this is the way it was at this day. So when we come to the end of June, this was our top 10 going forward. But again, we may have discussions in the boardroom about this. It's really, we haven't been thinking too much about that. That's been, we've been more concerned with trying to figure out how we're going to hold cook-offs.
So Jeremy Nippa, he's in the.
I lost y'all.
I got you. We might have lost Robbie. Can you hear me?
Wait, am I back?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right. Casey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Jeremy Nippa, he's in the comments. He mentioned a great deal. He said, just not do, if awards are such a concern, we can do virtual awards where people just maybe keep in their camps and watch it online, and then when they win, they go up and receive their award or payment or whatever it is. That's maybe something that we can think about in the future, the way things are going. But I think we're going to take a backseat to like Major League Baseball, NFL football. When we see what their plans are, which may be just playing without fans, I don't know what they're thinking or what their plans are right now. But I think we're going to take we're going to see what they do, and then we're going to react to that, because we're obviously smaller than that. Obviously they have crowds of 50,000 or whatnot, but the social distancing procedures are going to be the same, I think. So
yeah, when I was talking to someone the other day about that, and I told them, they asked me when I thought we were going to go back to cooking, and I told them, I said, the way it looks right now, I look at it kind of like your weekend warrior softball teams when they're allowed to go back, all the complexes fill up. That's probably when we'll start having cook-offs again.
Did you play softball, Kevin?
The problem with do what now?
Did you play softball?
No, I didn't play softball.
Okay, all right, go ahead. Just a question. Go ahead.
I call it weekend warrior softball because my niece plays it. And they get out there and she doesn't run; she prances or something like that. No,
go ahead.
But
so does Rob.
Anyway,
I did.
There's a lot more to it too, and I also talked to John Clifton up there in at the Smokin in the Pines in Livingston about it. And I mean, they're even thinking about broadcasting the awards over their speakers in the complex and having just the chief cooks come to the awards, which would cut it down greatly. And then, but you also have to think too that the teams are going to have to be responsible, like Friday night, Saturday night parties and whatnot. If we're going to make this work, we're going to have to pull together, and there's going to be some changes happen so we can get through this. So it's not just the promoter and the judging area and all that. The teams are going to have to pitch in and help us pull this off too, to make sure that everything goes well. Because the last thing we want to do is law enforcement to come out to a cook-off or something like that and say we're not meeting the needs of the CDC or the local authorities and to shut us down. And we don't want that.
Pretty sure Kevin just killed Club Bullhorn. Way to go, Rob.
Sorry.
Kevin, is there any conversation with other sanctioning bodies that where we could lean on other ones to see what they're doing in other parts of the country?
Again, some of the board members may be talking to them. Me personally, or Robin, I don't believe she has. I have not talked to any of them. There's a good chance that Leanne has probably reached out to several of them. I don't know. But she's doing a real good job steering the helm here. So she's staying ahead of the game, and that's what we need. So right now we're all pulling together, and really it was a good meeting this when we had it, and it was focused. The last half of the meeting was actually focused on this, and we're not taking it line to go back out there as fast as we can. So we want to do it where we don't get shut down and everybody's safe.
I like Weston Kimball's idea. So Smokin Gooder Show Live Awards, we could be everywhere. You know, we have 4,000 people that like this show. They're all mainly focused in Texas. I'm not kidding right now. This is a good idea, Weston. Great job. We could broadcast the live awards for all of the contests. That would be fun. I think that'd be a good idea.
Yep.
Maybe. I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, I think it would be a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. You still have to come up and claim that ticket. So we need those chief cooks.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we could broadcast it while everybody watches, but yeah, the chief cooks have to be in the crowd, and
chief cooks. The chief cooks in the arena, and bring it down to just that. And I mean, it would work well. And then just have a broadcast system do it. I mean, it's been working well. I mean, Debbie and I, when we're not cooking, we watch the live awards that Philip puts on and whatnot. So we get to see friends out there taking their walks and stuff. So the live awards are a good thing, in my opinion. I like them.
Absolutely. Kevin, I know you have an ear on the pulse of the Region 2, so let's just focus on Region 2 real quick. In June, you mentioned a couple cook-offs, but the ones that are still alive right now that haven't got the Reaper action from Kevin yet, the ones that are still out there, that are still planning on it, that are still actively maybe communicating with you, which ones are they, and how do you feel they may play out? I mean, obviously, we're still waiting on that governor's address on the 17th, but how do you feel they're going to play out, and which contest are they?
Well, we have, of course, Demo Derby moved into June, first weekend in June. So it's normally they moved, I believe, from April to May and then into June. So I've never cooked it. I've heard good things about it. Everything I've been told is a good cook-off. They have the Demo Derby, but not right now. They're scrambling for stuff like that to see if they're even going to do it, the Demo Derby portion of it. The cook-offs from here on, I think it's going to be a foot race to the end if the point chasers want to be out there cooking. I think some of the teams are still going to be a little gun shy. I think some of them maybe lay back and wait for a while to see how things going. I don't think cook-offs are going to hurt for teams. I think they'll be there. So the Demo Derby is a good one. And then we have the Joe Davis coming up in the middle of the month. That actually was, I think it was called 357 last year. They changed the name of it. It's a second-year event for IBCA. It's a great event. They do a great job. It had a good following last year. I fully expect it will. They were actually on the same weekend as Smokin the Pines at the end of the month in June, the one in Livingston, and they backed up so they wouldn't compete against each other. So that it's going to help them quite a bit, I believe. And then Smokin the Pines in Livingston, it's a new event. It's going to be at the big Livingston complex there. I think John told me he could hold 100+ teams in there with hookups around that complex, and they're gearing up for that. We've told them, y'all are the last three in our area. These guys they're going to make 1, 2, or all if they can. So be ready for it. I think they're all going to be good cook-offs if we can have them.
Oh yeah, I think they're going to be well attended.
They're going to work their best to do everything that needs to be done. I do anticipate a little bit of slowdown in the judging area if we have to meet some things that we're not normal doing. Because right now it's head down and tail up in there for us now. If we're required to do other safety things, then the judging area may slow down a little bit. So y'all don't give the head judges out there too much grief if they start running a little bit behind because of some things. It's probably going to happen. But if we have the help in there, clean tables and sanitize and stuff like that, when we're required to do it, then it should go well. But I think all three events are going to be good.
Sorry, my son came in while you were explaining that. Did you mention Kids Unlimited? I know. I'm
sorry. Yes, Kids Unlimited is still on the books.
And that's in what's the date on that one?
They are.
I'm putting you on the spot. You may not even.
I didn't put me on the spot. I'm gonna leave my camera for a second, okay? Hang on.
Well, I could look that up. Ace Marquez, do you know the date on that one? I don't know. Yeah. Wait, he's coming. He's coming back. Anything to keep cook-offs progressing. I agree.
June 19th and 20th.
Look at my boy, Johnny on the spot. Case Han.
See, if I had my other. Yeah. Well, if I had my other computer and the camera, I'd be on it.
So what have you heard about that kickoff, Kevin? June 19th?
I love that kickoff. Carolyn's ready. She made some changes this year. She's trying to switch it up for y'all. She took out the beans in the morning and put in dessert. She wanted to do something different. So Carolyn always puts on a good event. It's one of Debbie's and mine favorite events to cook. There's such great people out there, and the hospitality is awesome. She'll be if she usually pushes 50, 75. We've gotten up there before in teams. She will be one of the ones, if we have to do a social distance, that are going to have to meet some requirements, and they'll have to reset their judging areas. But again, I'm not even going to discuss that with them until once we hear from the governor and stuff like that. Then Robin and I will get with them and start talking to them and making sure that they can meet the needs if we have to put them out there for them, so we can have it.
All right. Well, Case, you have anything else for Mr. Kevin? I'm sorry.
Kevin, do you wear a black robe when you type up those cancellations when you're on Facebook?
No, but I wear a black shirt at work.
Hey, Kevin, thank you very much for coming on. This is short notice. I appreciate you taking the time.
No problem. Look, y'all, we know we all want to get out there. We know we all want to get out there and start cooking again, judging and everything. So just y'all rest easy knowing that the board is on this. We're not sitting down and just hanging out and just, hoping for the best. We're all trying very hard, coming up with ideas and whatnot to get y'all back out there. And
except for that guy, Roddy Trevino. Except for that guy, Roddy Trevino. He's just taking it easy.
Roddy's a good guy. Roddy and I, we've been on the board. Actually, this is this is my term out year right here. I term out, so y'all have another director in September. I've been on the board for 4 years, and Roddy's been there with me the whole time. It's been great. It's been great working with Roddy. So
when y'all do teleconference stuff, you think Roddy wears pants?
I have no idea. All I see is the head up.
So no, it's a no.
Hey, again, Kevin, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And your wife, man, she's been kicking ass in the barbecue world. So we definitely noticed that. And thank you both of you
right now. About the time she started getting up there and getting busy, she had to sit down. So, well, I mean, like Bill Manning said, we want to see that Price is Right cheer again.
Right.
Like she did at Pearland.
It's funny after that win at Pearland, she wasn't up too early the next morning.
No, she wasn't up at all. It reminded me back in Kirbyville one year when tequila Sunrise Part 2 really sounded out there on the tequila. Yeah. I know our neighbor over there, Thomas Anderson, kept asking, "Are you cooking or is your wife? Where's she at?" I said, "Well, she's getting around. She's moving."
My wife had just had shoulder surgery like the week before, and that was a couple weeks prior. And Debbie was so excited, she came and gave Diane some nice pats on the shoulder. My wife was like, "Oh my God!" But hey, we appreciate you and all your hard work. And I know it's not it's a thankless job sometimes, but no, we appreciate you, and we want to personally thank you for doing what you do. And we love, it's fun to see. It's not fun to see the Kevin comments right now, but it is fun to make fun of it right now.
It's all. I know it's all good humor. I know. I thought it was funny when, even Brad come out there old and said, "I'm beginning to not like you," and I was thinking to myself, "You never liked me."
Hey, well, again, thank you.
Me now.
Kate, you got anything last thing for Kevin before he goes?
Nope. Waiting for your next post, brother.
All right. Well, hopefully they're good posts.
Sounds good, man.
I'll go look for some rainbows and sunshine for y'all.
Sounds
good.
There you
go. We appreciate you. Thank you, Kevin. All right, there it was. Kevin Miller, Region 2.
COVID Kevin.
Reaper, the Reaper man. Well, this is long, man. We've been on this.
It's the weekend, guys. Man, get those votes in there. Let's get down to those Elite 8 cooks. 16 around is man, we're right in the middle of it. So you haven't voted on the first group, you still got time.
It's early. Let's do a ticker real quick. I can actually, if you're on your phone, I can actually give you the numbers right now.
Oh, you're fancy.
So Arnie and Carlo, they have 711 votes right now. 383 to Arnie. Carlo woke up, or his family woke up. 359 to Carlo, so that's pretty close. And of course, we've seen these things play out. Anything within 100 is close, in my opinion. Clint Swindoll and Gil Martinez. This thing has over 1,100 votes already. With what are we in? 4.5 hours in. Gil Martinez 716, Clint 407.
Ooh, that one might be getting away. We'll see what happens when the sun comes up.
We'll see what happens when the sun comes up. We got 4.5 hours in. Clarence Joseph, Jackie Milligan. This is the Texas Oil Dust region. Number 1 versus the number 4. 957 votes are in. And it is 5:49. And Jackie's making her comeback now. 460. She's within 100. Good. She'll be fine. And then we got our boy Ernest Cervantes and Tyler Cannon. 816 votes. 514 to Ernest. 359 to Tyler.
Long way to go, but get the votes in, share them, have some fun, support your friends. For those of us who've been knocked out for a couple of weeks right now, it's a pretty relaxing deal. But yeah, it's something definitely for you to click on the page and check it out. But we certainly enjoy having everybody having some fun with it and sharing it and having the comments. It's a lot of fun. And Rob, did most of this work. I had nothing to do with it. This was a complete surprise. And so good job, Rob. Actually, it's a really good idea there. I said something nice to you on the show.
There it was. Blues Hog and Texas Oil Dust regions are live right now. Tomorrow at 6, these guys end. And then at 6, Meat Church and the Chupacabra regions start. Butter sent me a nice little promo. I'll share it, but I'm going to share it tomorrow whenever it happens. Or maybe, tomorrow morning.
Speaking of, but I'm going to give Butters a little promo because I've had my hands on his 50 cal for a while now.
Yep.
And, we were talking about, have you been messing around with any recipes or tinkering with stuff in the downtime? Man, I don't know if I was set out to make a kick-ass brisket last weekend, but I did run Aaron's Texas Oil Dust rub last week for the first time. It's fantastic, salty, peppery. It's what you something called Texas Oil Dust Black Gold. It's something you can imagine it should taste like. But man, oh man, you and I talked about 50 cal, and I was like, man, I'm not real sure about this by itself. And so going into it, and we were cooking for the family, and I really wasn't sure. But man, I went last 30 minutes before serving. Put a nice little glaze of 50 cal on the brisket, cooked it 300 on the Rectech OG, the old 5-year-old mini that won't die. And man, this stuff turned out just this black, shiny. It looked like I've been smoked it for 18 hours or some ungodly amount that people like to brag about running their briskets. And
we have a request for what does it taste like, Case?
When it was on there, and let's be honest, in the cooks that are out here watching, a lot of us have gone to saucing briskets and things like that. And one of the things that I've been real hesitant about saucing a brisket is that tomatoey. It does not have that tomato base to it. I can tell you it had just enough sweet to it, but it describes itself as bold and savory. And I think it fits that mold, but there was just enough sweetness for those of us that do choose to maybe sauce and brisket. But when you balance that heat, and I can tell you the pepper and the heat, that traditional brisket taste that I got from Aaron's rub, it was a nice little balance, just a touch of sweetness, and it's a very light sauce. So one nice thing about it is when it went on there, literally 30 minutes, I mean, that thing was pitch black, shiny, and man, it was a hell of a bite. And so really impressive product. And as anything when it comes to Butters, Lone Star Survivor Foundation is sponsored, proceeds or go to those guys. And he does a fantastic job with all of his rubs and products. So yeah, shout out to Butters. I paid for everything. I just want everyone to know I paid for everything. The barbecue store ships it to my house, and no one gave any of it to me for free. And it's a fantastic product. So if you are tinkering in the backyard and you can get your hands on a brisket, man, my Rectech was rocking. That brisket cook was fast. It was delicious.
All right, so we got Butter versus Caleb tomorrow, and he sent me this. I'm going to share that.
Dude, I can't wait.
That will be shared tomorrow.
If there's a can, Dennis, you can go and send that to me now. That'd be great. But if there's a campaign that's finally going to get entertaining, which is, because one of the things about this whole bracket is there's a lot of sweet nothings. Like, I think Fong and I, we love to poke each other and give each other a hard time. But I think this is one, those guys are friends, but I think it's no holds bar. And unlike CJ Bean, Butters has real Photoshop skills. And so I'm pretty excited.
Caleb lost weight. Yes, he did. In that photo, he sure did. So let's give a shout out to the Texas Pitmasters Virtual Showdown sponsors. Again, Blues Hog and Texas Oil Dust. Aaron Lesley's watching right now. We appreciate that. Joey Machado was a big deal for getting us the Blues Hog participation. We've got Meat Church Barbecue. Thank you to Matt Pittman and Chris Hatcher for arranging that. And, of course, Alton, the Gringo, with Chupacabra Rubs. We appreciate your support. And Craig Sherry, Texas Pepper Jelly Players Pool. Got to got to update that. I've been so bad at that. I haven't even looked at it. I have no idea what is going on. This is a lot of work, guys. And
Craig sent me his APS rug. I will say, I think he sent it to Katie, not me. And so, but yeah, his new APS rug. We were tried it. If you want a great all-purpose one, those are the 3 I dragged out of the house tonight for the show. But yeah, if you want a good one, Craig's got one. This one I do. I got a little barbecue welfare, but I think it was Katie that earned this one for us. So.
There's some requests for an after show. I don't know if Case is up for it tonight.
Got a busy weekend. It's Mother's Day's weekend, guys. So I got to go to the beach.
We'll see. I might do it. We'll see. I don't know where Jaybird is.
I may get Howard to tune in.
Or Shell. We're trying to get Shell on. We'll see what she does.
But the other people, don't forget RegTech Grills.
It's coming up. Say it. Do it.
So I'll let. And then the other guys that make this possible, Eureka Heights Brewing, Carbach Brewing, both breweries here in Houston that have been ultra supportive of us since the beginning. The barbecue store, if I can't say it enough, man, hit these guys up. Get the best products that are out there. The cooks that we talk to that provide some of the fantastic rubs are sold on their shelves there in Hempstead, or they'll ship it to you in a hurry. And RegTech Grills, man, it's going to fire up RegTech again this weekend. It just can't beat them.
So RegTech announced today that the new bullseye is coming out. Stainless steel bullseye. I can't wait to see that. It's going to be stainless steel just like it, but it's also got that new PID controller, so it's going to be, another level of greatness. Thing gets up to 700 degrees. It's amazing. We use it as a steak cooker. Can't say enough about the product for RegTech and the people behind it. Thank you to did you hear that? Thank you to Ray Carnes, Jody Flanagan, everybody associated with RegTech. We love being a part of that crew. So thank you again, and thank you for sponsoring the Texas Pitmasters Virtual Showdown. Again, this thing is going to be given away next week. It is the Faith, Freedom, and Barbecue from the Holy Smoked Barbecue Crew.
Hashtag Cooking with Jesus.
Hashtag Cooking with Jesus. And then, of course, Aaron Lesley mentioned he's going to be in 2 weeks. We're going to have a Gooder giveaway for the Texas Oil Dust. But and after that, we've got a Gooder giveaway with AMP products from Adam Martinez. Get up, hashtag Get Up Chucky. So looking forward to that. Again, thank you to everybody that's supporting us. We appreciate all of you. Case and I started this thing. We're coming up on 3 years, Case, and this thing's really just starting to get a lot of traction. So good stuff, buddy. Thanks for hanging in here with us.
Most importantly, though, if you're still with us or tuning in on the podcast, man, I hope you're safe. I hope your family's safe. Take care of each other. Wear a mask. Stay 6 feet apart. Do what you got to do. So let's get through this so we can get back and Kevin stops giving us bad news and we can start cooking together and hanging out. In the meantime, we appreciate everybody's comments, tuning in, the messages, and have a lot of fun doing it. And if nothing else, maybe it takes your mind off some of the tough stuff that we got going on right now. We'll get through it together like we always have. And stay safe. But that's all I got, buddy.
That's it. We got this going on tonight. Blues Hog and Texas Old Dust tomorrow. Meat Church and Chupacabra kicks off. So come Sunday at 6 p.m., we will know who the Elite Eight are. So stay tuned. Keep track of the Texas Pitmasters. I thought you were doing a gang sign. Keep track of the Texas Pitmasters Virtual Showdown. We appreciate it. Y'all be safe. We're out.
Good night, Barbecue Nation. You too, California.
Late.